welcome back. This is Marissa, also known as the Crafty Heifer, here on YouTube and on Instagram. You guys, oh my gosh, you guys, like, you pulled up that welcome wagon and we had a bonfire. Oh my goodness, thank you so much to all of you who watched my first floss tube, who subscribed, who put a thumbs up, who left a comment. I'm overwhelmed. Like, you guys have been very, very generous in welcoming me into the community, and I have had so much fun this last week getting to know some of you guys and talking with you. So thank you so much for that. I just want to put that out there. First thing, I had to say it. Okay, so I don't anticipate this being as long as my last video, but I like to talk, so who knows? All right, so what we're talking about, first thing we're going to talk about, Stitch Mania, Sania, Whip Mania, whatever you want to call it. I've made a few alterations to my plans that I had last week. So I started thinking about it a little bit more, pulled out what I had to work on, and I decided that because I'm a new stitcher, I'm still pretty slow. So trying to get to a certain point within a week is not going to work for me. So what I'm going to do is I am going to try to stitch for a certain set of time per week. So I have set that at 14 hours, so that's about 2 hours each day. Now there are some days that I stitch more, like on the weekends. There are some days that I don't stitch at all. You know, my hand's hurting, my shoulder's hurting, whatever, I won't stitch. Sometimes I just don't feel like it. I want to read, I want to do other things. So here's what I've decided to do. I currently have 4 whips. And so what I'm going to do is, starting on Friday, which I started on the 1st, on Friday, and I did give myself a little handicap. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I'll talk about that more when I get there. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna work on one project for each week from Friday to Thursday, and then I'll start a next project on Friday. And as I'm doing that, if I meet my 14-hour goal for stitching that week, then I will allow myself to buy a pattern. And I've got those patterns all set out. I know which ones I'm going to get, except for the 4th week. I'm leaving that one open in case I find something that I can't live without. So the first week I am stitching on a pattern for called Lonestar Stitchers, and it was a DFW retreat exclusive pattern. And I started that one on Wednesday. So that's my handicap. I did let myself start a couple of days early because for the first time I'm stitching on linen. And so it took me a few days to kind of get the rhythm of going over 2. I'm stitching 2 over 2. And for those of you that don't know, for the new people, 2 over 2 means I'm using 2 threads and I'm going over 2 squares instead of going into each square. So there's plenty of videos about that. That's how I figured it out and what to do. So just check in your Flosstube videos. There's a lot of people that can explain it way better than I can as a beginner, and they explained it in a way that I completely understood. So I started Lonestar Stitchers. Now I don't think I have downloaded this pattern. I've been using it from the file section on Facebook, and I just looked to pull up the cover page for you guys and it's not there. So I'm gonna have to email the moderator for that and see if I can get that from them, or if one of you has it, if you could send it to me, please. Oops. So this is what I've gotten done so far. Now this white, as you can see, I'm way off. I don't know what I did differently, but that's probably going to get pulled out and restitched. So these 2 down here are not too bad. I don't know what I did up here. I don't know what I don't know what happened. But it's a hot mess. So this is what I've done in 4 days. So I started on Wednesday, and I started with this gold border here, and I made it from here down to here on Wednesday. And then I started with the blue and the red flowers, and so I started putting those in, and then I did that white flower, and yeah. So I did stitch for several hours yesterday, and what I'm doing, this is a, sorry, let me back up, slow down a little bit, Marissa. I'm using a 28 count linen that I got from Joann's. So I think it's a crafter's loft or something like that. I don't remember. I'm sorry. I bought this the first time I tried cross stitching. So that's where that's at. We'll come back to, this is in a Q-snap. As you can see, I do have the thread minders that I use to fold up the bottom of the patterns. And like I said, we'll come back to some of that here in a minute. So what I've done is I have gone through, and I like to keep a little small bag. It's got all my floss for that project in it because I don't have like a floss keep or anything like that right now. I will eventually get some or make some or whatever, but these little bags that I had already purchased worked perfect for this. I've got a ton of these. I used to have an Ipsy subscription, so you know, you get little makeup bags that are this size that would be perfect for this. So I made the card. So it's the Lonestar Stitchers by Nerdan Canber, and I apologize if I said your name wrong, for Twin Peak Primitives. And so what I did is on the back side, I just have some notes. So I noted what count linen it was, what thread count, so I'm doing 2/2, how many stitches it is, the finish size, and then the size of fabric that I needed, and what size border that I put in. So I put a 2-inch border around this one. And then I also put on here the date and how much time that I stitched each time I sat down. I've just been starting a stopwatch on my phone, and so I know how much time that I have stitched for, and then I will add that up at the end of the week to see if I have earned my new pattern. So that is the project that I have been working on this week. I will continue working on this one until Thursday, and then on Thursday I will finish it up, and on Friday I will start the next one. And I originally had what pattern I was going to start what week, and then I'm a little too go with the flow for that. So what I'm going to do instead is whatever pattern I feel like working on the next week, that's the one I'm going to pick up on Friday morning. So I showed you guys the patterns that I had available to work on. So this one, which I took out of the Q frame, and I actually cut some of the fabric. I didn't mean to show the pattern, I apologize. I cut some of the fabric down because I had the original large piece of fabric already. So I took it out. I'm just going to quickly go through these because I did talk about them last week, but I did trim the fabric down to 17 by 17 for my count. I measured like 4 times before I cut this. So this is where I'm at on Letters to Hogwarts, Sal, by CunningCross Stitch and Stuart Cunningham. So that's where I would be starting when I decide to work on that one. Cutting that fabric down was amazeballs because it took out a lot of extra fabric. So I put that over here, which I'll show you in a minute. I was very proud of myself. I've been very productive this week, which is this whole like staying at home thing. The first several weeks I was not very productive, and now I'm like starting to feel productive again. So I've tried to, you know, embrace that as much as possible. So that's the WIP in progress number 2 that I'll be working on during this month. Number 3 is the linens and threads 2020 mystery Sal. Yes, I have messed up. I talked about that last week. So this will be a week project. As you can see, I did go through all of my new stuff that I opened last week. I did go ahead and put into practice. Everything has been reorganized and kitted up to be ready to go for when I'm ready to start working on it. It's got a bag. It's got a grime guard on it, and it is all in here. So those are the 2 whips that I had in progress. The third one, that Hufflepuff Badger with the scarf, I decided to put that to the side. I'm not going to work on that. It's in timeout right now until I decide what exactly that I want to do with that one. So I started 2 new starts this week. So I had those 2 going. Of course, I started Lonestar Stitchers this week on Wednesday. On Monday, I started this one. I talked about this one last week. This one is the Tempting Tangles Quakers in Scotland Mystery Sal. I started it. I know it's kind of hard to see against this fabric with the lighting because these are both, this is like a cream ecru color, and this is a white, and this is a very light gray fabric. So I started. You guys can see in here, it's FUBAR. I know it's FUBAR. It's probably going to get taken out because it's that, I can't fudge it. So I started this. I am still not sure about this mystery fabric. I stitched on it. I did all of this. I didn't have any problems with the outline of this flag. When I got to this middle part, however, I don't know if it was me being tired, if it was the fabric. I'm just not sure. I was not impressed stitching on this fabric. I'm going to give it another couple of goes, see how I like it, and if I still hate the fabric, we're going to scrap this and start on something else. I am surprised that I have liked the linen fabric from the Lonestar Stitchers. I really have enjoyed stitching on that linen after I kind of got used to it and got going on it. So, new start number 1, and then I set it aside as a whip for that week, for whatever week I decide to do it. So, those are my 4 that I'm going to be working on throughout this process. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. I'm doing really well on Lonestar Stitchers so far. I'm ahead of the curve. However, my arm, I think I stitched for about 5 hours yesterday. My shoulder is on fire. I'm not going to lie to you guys. All right. So let's talk about what happened this week. I was on Facebook because, you know, what else are we going to do? And I've been, you know, looking for things to buy in some stash and loading groups and seeing if there's anything I can do without. I was, you know, doing a lot of shopping. At least window shopping, I should say, to find out what exactly that I'm going to be earning for the week. So I had some that I'd earmarked, talked about them last week, and I made some final decisions. So week 1 for Whip Apocalypse Mania, whatever you want to call it. Week 1, I'm going to be trying to earn the Pledge of Allegiance, which is done designs by Lisa. So, and I will try to put pictures up over here for all of these patterns that I talk about and links in the description box below. So that's going to be my week 1. That is what I'm working towards. That's going to be a gift for a friend of mine. Week 2, I will be trying to earn the Halloween Quaker by Lila's Studio. Again, I'll put it up here. Week 3, I will be trying to earn the 2 Quakers Sister Samplers by Modern Folk Embroidery. So that was one of the ones that I saw, and when I saw it the very first time, I knew I had to do it. I fell in love with the pattern. I didn't purchase it because I was still like trying to be a monogamous stitcher. It's not gonna happen. So I'm gonna do that one. That one will also be a gift, or part of it will be a gift. So again, pictures over there if I haven't already, and then the 4th week I'm gonna leave open. And the reason I'm going to leave it open is because I was looking for a Christmas pattern. And I found lots of them that I really liked. I didn't find one that I absolutely loved. And then I realized we're going to get to Halloween and there's going to be some more Halloween stuff coming out, right? Like that always happens every year. New patterns come out all the time. So I'm kind of thinking that I did find a couple of like stitch-alongs, Christmas stitch-alongs and things like that. So I think I'm going to wait until when that kind of stuff starts coming out and find something then for a new start, for that new 4th week Christmas start. So I'm going to save it. I'm saving that one up. Let me give myself a little credit for that one. So that's what I'm going to be working towards to be able to buy those patterns. I did buy a couple of patterns yesterday off of a stash unloading. So I'll have those for you hopefully next week. And then I was going through my Facebook, coming back around. I'm circling back around. I was going through my Facebook, and on Tuesday, many of you will know that Stitch Along, or Stitch, the Stitch group posted that they were releasing the new pattern on Thursday. They were going to announce what the 2020 Stitch Along was going to be. So I contacted a couple of people. My friend Rachel Ray has invited me to join a group that is a team for Stitch because I thought, you know what, it's small. You know, they said it was going to be a small pattern. I'm about this life. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of sneak in Stitch among all of these other things. It will not count towards Stitch Mania sania. I don't know what to call it, you guys. I'm doing all the things. So I got out this morning and I picked out my color palette. I'm just going to use a white 14 count Aida that I already had. And we needed 6 colors in an ombre shades. So I can pick all this up. So these are the colors that I'm going to be using. So this one is very light lemony ecru color. That's a light lemon and into the golds and into the browns. The ambers and the browns. So those are the ones I'm going to use. I picked that pattern, or picked the colorway, excuse me, up a little bit earlier. So I need to kit that up as a project into my project bags and everything like that. And I'm looking forward to it. So they're doing a house pattern that they did, I think, for the very first one. I'm still learning things. So I think it was the very first stitch that they did. They have restructured that pattern and they're bringing it back. So that starts Saturday, next Saturday, May the 9th. The first pattern is supposed to drop. So we're going to go from there. We're going to try it. Now, homegirl was talking about blends. I don't know what a blend is. I'm going to have to figure that out before we get there. But we're going to learn some new skills. Yay! All right. So I'm going to take a little break right here, and we're going to talk about Zoom chat. So thank you to everyone who joined us yesterday. We had some more people join us, some different people join us yesterday, and then we had some that joined us from the previous week. So I want to say thank you to everybody that jumped on, that shared. Yesterday was a little more serious. We talked about some things. I kind of felt like some people really needed to get some things off their chest. And so we did that yesterday. It's still enjoyable. It was still a lot of fun just to sit and chat. We did extend it out by another hour, not officially, but I just kind of looked up at noon and said, hey, do you guys want to keep going? They all said yes. So we just kept going for another hour. And then my stomach was like, you got to feed me. So the problem that I have coming up that keeps recurring is that some people apparently are not getting my emails. Literally, you guys, what I do is I sit down, I take that form that everybody has filled out, and I type in every single email address. I just literally go down the list, put that email address in, and I send the Zoom invite to you. So that all you have to do is click on the link in that email. Some people aren't getting that email for whatever reason. So what I'm going to do is, instead of emailing you, which I'm still going to do, but if you're not getting that email for whatever reason, check your junk mail, check all your folders and things like that. If you still didn't get that email, I'm going to, in my Wednesday live videos, Wednesday lives, I'm going to drop the meeting ID and password and the link to that Zoom meeting in the description of my Wednesday lives. Okay. So if you don't get the email, it will be in the description box of my Wednesday lives. So guys know where to go and look for it. So if you want to join us, you didn't get an email, that's where you can access that information to join us on Saturdays. See, really the only other thing that I can think of to do, I have several Facebook pages and things like that, but they're for specific things. I don't have one just for like my channel. I don't feel the need to have one just for my channel. So instead of sending 50 million private messages and emails and all of that kind of stuff, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you guys access to it so that, again, if you're not getting the email, you have access to that in one place. Everybody knows where to go and look, okay? I'm not trying to exclude anybody. I sent all of the emails out while I was in Creative Mayhem's live, so they all went. I did everything that I could at the time, but hopefully if we have more people that want to join, didn't get an email, this is a way for you to have access, okay? I'm looking at my notes are laid down over here so I don't forget anything. So, next up, we are going to talk about the tools I use. So I had a very kind new subscriber ask me a question, and Miss Jamie Kerner had asked me a question about the tools that I was using during my Wednesday live. So I cross-stitched during my Wednesday live, or at least I have for the last several. and she had asked me about what tools that I was using. She specifically asked me about the Q-snap and about the stand. So let me pull this out. I love Q-snaps. I really do. They seem to be right now my favorite thing to use. I've stitched in hand. It wasn't really my jam. I've used a hoop, also not really my jam. I can use one, but I don't really enjoy it. Now, I did see somebody the other day, they had one of those hoops that has, instead of like having the little thing that you have to turn, it has like a spring mechanism where you squeeze it and make it fit. I may try one of those before I completely give up on hoops. And I do use a hoop because my little ornament that I stitched, I did stitch that in a hoop. But Q-snaps are definitely my favorite. So, first Q-snap that I ever bought was I believe it was an 11 by 11. And I bought it and I liked it. And then when I started doing the Hogwarts stitch along, the letters to Hogwarts, I decided to buy a 17 by 17 because it's really big, right? So it made sense. I can use this huge thing and I never have to change the location of the Q-snaps. I don't have to constantly take it in and out. Well, first of all, there's not a project bag big enough for that. So I was using a reusable Marshall shopping bag, which actually worked pretty good. But anyway, I used that 17 by 17, I think, for about 2 days. And then I realized you have to like lean it up against something. I'm trying to do the top section and the top is, you know, I'm having to reach that 17 inches. It just was not very user friendly. So I have that 17 by 17 sitting over there. I haven't used it. I think what I will probably do at some point is to try the 17 combined with something else. So maybe like an 8 or an 11 to bring it down, but make it long. Does that make sense? I've seen some people do that on YouTube, or at least that looks like what they're probably doing, is they've got like it's a Q-snap, but it's long and skinny. You guys know what I mean. So, I haven't thrown it out. I haven't given it away for that reason. I'm going to try to use it because it was a lot of money. My favorite combo so far is 8 by 11, which is this size here. So this is the 8s. These are the 11s. I really like this size. This seems to be, it's easy to hold. I can hold it in hand. I can put it into my lap stand. I can do all the things with it. It travels well in this size. You know, it's the size of a sheet of a paper. So it's perfect. So this is definitely my favorite size. I did buy another 8-inch square one with the intention of getting an 8 and an 11. Now, the store that I purchased from was out of the 11 by 11, so I couldn't do that, so I got just the 8, which is why the linens and threads is in an 8 by 8 square. So I'm just waiting on that one, my 11 by 11 to come in for me to combine those. And so you buy 2 Q-snaps, you still get 2 Q-snaps, no big deal. So that is, Jamie, that is the answer to your question there. The second part of the tools that I use most commonly is this. This is an Elan lap stand by Artisan Designs. Now, I did not purchase this from Artisan Designs. I purchased this secondhand on Facebook. There was a lovely lady named Brenda back in January that posted this lap stand on Facebook, and that was right as I was getting into everything. I, watched all the videos about all the different stands, and I really liked this one because of its size, because it's wood. It's, real good hardwood, and just all the things. I wanted one that completely flipped around so you could get to the back of it and everything like that. So this was my favorite. So I got on Facebook one day. I was just kind of scanning through my Facebook marketplace, and I saw a listing for this. Now, it was Christmas time. I was broke, okay? Everybody's broke at Christmas. And so I just kind of set favorited it or whatever, however you call it. I saved it or whatever on Facebook. And when I came back in mid-January, I figured that it would be gone because it's an Elan lap stand. And she only wanted $30 for it. $30, you guys. They are definitely not $30 new, okay? So I kind of forgot about it. And I was sitting here, and it was about the middle of January, and it popped back up on my Facebook feed. Are you still interested in this item? And I had gone through and I had searched for it and couldn't find it. So I figured it had sold. And so it said, are you still interested in this item? So I immediately was like, yeah. So I get on Facebook and I send a message to Miss Brenda. And I said, hey, do you still have this lap stand by any chance? And she's like, oh yeah, absolutely. I still have it. I will be at your house here in about 3 hours with some cash to get you this. So I purchased this for $30. I think she said it was about 10 years old. But honestly, you guys, you can't tell. It's, other than being like a little bit dirty just from use, like not dirty, but you know how wood kind of gets that, you know how wood gets dirty. It's basically the same thing as a brand new one. I think they've changed this. I've got a wing nut. They've got a knob up here now. But other than that, everything else on here is exactly the same as it was when this one was made. The middle slides out so you can make it as wide as you need. And then you can take this arm off. You put the clamp around the arm, and then you can screw it down here with the 2 knobs. And it folds up nice and flat, and you can travel with it. I hauled this thing to Memphis and back on an airplane, and it traveled perfectly. It's heavy. Like, I would say it's probably a good 3, maybe 5 pounds. But it traveled well. Like, I just put it in my backpack. I have a, like a laptop backpack. Put my laptop in there, put this in there, had my cross stitch project. I was ready to go. So, an Elan lap stand by Artisan Designs. They are very pricey. In my opinion, it is exactly what I wanted. So, it would have been worth the price even if I had paid the higher price for it and purchased a new one. I will refer you, and I will try to find the exact video and link it below. Rachel Ray just purchased one of these, and she just opened one of these and filmed a video tutorial on it. So I will try to link that below. But yes, I use an Elan lap stand, and that's Elan by Artisan Designs. And that's, hold on just a second, because it does say it on here. So this one was patented. I think it's got the patent, not the year that it was made. So I got a steal. I found a really good deal on it. I snapped it up for that. So yes, I use it. I love it. It's amazing. The next thing that I purchased and that I use pretty much all the time, pretty much every day, is this little Booklight. And this is a Vecchia. I got it off of Amazon. I think it was about $12 or $13. Stitcherista here on YouTube uses this. It's got 3 different settings. And the battery life on this is really good. It's rechargeable. So there's the charging port there. I only have to recharge it maybe once a week, you know, depending on how much I'm using it. I usually use the middle setting for my light. That usually is good enough. So yeah, so I use this. This travels really well. You know, and the only problem that I don't like about it is it doesn't quite clip to a Q-snap. You can make it work, but it doesn't stay on very well. So like I need this gap to be like maybe a half or even a quarter of an inch bigger to fit on a Q-stand really well, or a Q-snap really well. So most of the time what I do is I have this on my upright on my stand, and it fits down just perfectly for that. But I do travel with this. You can use it for that kind of stuff. In the car, when I was using it, when we traveled the last time, I clipped it to the Osh handle. You know what I'm talking about? The handle up here at the top of the door. Yeah, I clipped it to that and just had it, you know, kind of tilted down over my work, and that worked perfect. So that's another way that you can use it if you happen to have those. I was in the back seat, so I happened to have one. Now, the other thing I did this week, like I told you, is I reorganized my craft area. So I reorganized everything over there. My buckets I had several vinyl stickers that I had been sent, some diamond ones, some had my name on them. And so I just, you know, finally used those, got them out. All my buckets have been labeled. All my thread keepers have been labeled, you know, the plastic with all the sorting things. You guys know what I'm talking about. And then I had one of these. Now these buckets come from Ikea. And I purchased these in January when I was buying the, when I was setting up my desk area, basically. I purchased these because they were on sale. These are, I have to go back and get more of these. Even though it's an hour trip to Ikea, I need more of these in my life because they are fantastic. So, I took one of these. I had one that had, I think, 1 or 2 skeins of yarn in it. And I just put those into a different bucket and decided this was going to be my cross stitch bucket. Pretty much everything I own for cross stitch fits in this one bucket. And then all of my whips I have in one of these. So that's pretty much it, you guys. So what I did is I went through, I took one of my extra bags that I purchased. These bags, you guys, came from Amazon. If you search poly mesh bag, I think is what I put in. These will pop up. You can get different sizes. I would suggest going to the bigger, which I think is like 11 by 14 or something like that, which is this size. The 8 by 11 Q snaps, things like that. They all fit better in this size, so you can see just the difference. This one is one size down. I think this one's a 9 by 13. So you can see it's just that little bit bigger, and it just fits much better. Everything if you get this bigger size. Again, I'll try to find the links. This came in one kit that I purchased back in February to travel, and these are in a different kit that I purchased afterwards to have more of them. These will still work if this is what you have. I went through and I took all of my fabric, my extra fabric, and I put them in this bag. So I've got some red Aida that I had purchased in the original foray into cross stitch a couple years ago. I have some of my white 18 count that is left over from these projects that I have kitted up down here. And then I told you that I went through and I trimmed the excess fabric off of my letters to Hogwarts, and that gave me an extra piece of 19 by 10 and an extra piece 29 by 15. So those are 2 fairly large pieces, and all of that was in that one project. So I think that was the biggest roll that you could get at Michael's of this oatmeal 18 count Aida. So I have all of those in there, so I know exactly where to go for all my fabric. My one extra grime guard is in here. This is the fancy fabric and the fancy floss that I showed you guys last week that I had purchased. And I just stuck those down in here. And then I had also found on Amazon a bag of, I think there's 50. Yes, there's 50 of these. And they're the needle threaders, the metal, try that again. The metal needle threaders. And so I just have those stuck down in here as well. My extra little things like this. Hoops. My extra thread keepers, or whatever these are called. Thread spool huggers. So I had originally purchased 50 of these off Amazon as well. They come in 2 bags like this and 1 bigger bag. And as you can see, I've used those. I really like these to hold your extra fabric and things on. And then this is the Hufflepuff pattern that I have put in timeout. It got its own small bag. And that goes in there. And then my huggers for my 17 by 17 Q snapper in here. That's everything that's in here. That's everything that I have. Cross stitch related. All of that stuff is in this one tub, so I know exactly where to go for it. My extra project bags I keep in the project bucket because that makes sense to me. So those just sit in the back there and call it good. So again, all of this stuff will be linked down below. But you guys, that's what I cross stitch with. I have 3 different tubs of thread that I've purchased, or floss that I've purchased. It's all DMC, all purchased either from Michael's or Joann's. I usually I'll take a drink of coffee. Maybe I can speak again. I usually kit up per project. So I usually buy floss for that project, and then whatever I have left, I have left. I have found that I really need to new stitcher tip. The colors that you're going to use a lot, black, white, some of those like that, you probably should just go ahead and buy. So I need to buy some of those more in bulk. But yeah, so, you know, it's just the general threads that I have. I don't buy a whole lot of extra. I don't buy a color that I'm just like, woo, I gotta have that. Now, fancy floss, that's a whole different story, because I have a feeling that's a rabbit hole that I'm gonna be like diving into. Shh, don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody. All right, let me make sure that I have covered everything. Covered my 2 starts, my tools, my whips. So we will see how far I get. I've been making really good progress so far. I'm going to log my hours. I've got to remember to take pictures and post those on Instagram. You guys want to see that kind of stuff, right? I'll try to do better. That's all I can say. Again, thank you so much to everyone who joined us for the Zoom chat, everyone who is new to my channel, everybody that has come back to my channel. You guys, just, yeah, I'm not going to get into it because I was very surprised. I was very happy. So thank you guys for making my week. I'm glad that you've enjoyed it. I hope that you enjoy this one. I was kind of a little bit squirrely. I was kind of a little bit all over the place, but I was pretty excited. There's a lot of new stuff happening. I'm at that point where things are exciting still. Mania is exciting. Stitch is exciting. I wanted to do all of those things last year, but I just was not in the place to do it. So I'm very excited about doing these things for the first time this year. I'm excited to have new stitchy friends. I'm just excited to be doing things. We're enjoying life. We're doing all of the things that we can do at this point in time. So join us on Saturday mornings for Zoom chat. All of the stuff that I talked about in this video should be down below, as long as I can find it still. If Amazon like doesn't have the listing anymore, I'll try to find something equivalent to what I purchased. I think that's all I have for you. Join us on Wednesday nights. Don't be afraid to come in. We're a very friendly group. It's only an hour long. From 7 to 8 is when I go live. We just go in, we talk about whatever. We might play a game, we might have trivia, all of those kinds of things. All of that is on Wednesday nights. You can go back and watch the videos. A lot of you have watched those videos this week, so thank you for that as well. I hope that you enjoyed, and I hope you feel like you can come in and hang out and speak up. Don't be afraid to say hi. We don't bite unless you ask us to. But I'm going to go because I have a St. Jude committee meeting today, and we are still doing on my About section. I'm going to throw this in here. I still have the May giveaway for the St. Jude coffee tumbler. And in fact, it's up here. Give me a second. Don't forget, I have the link on my About section, and I'll put it in the description box below. So what I'm doing is I'm doing a raffle. Anyone that makes a donation to my St. Jude fundraiser, which is where that link will take you to, all of that money goes directly to St. Jude. I don't see it. I don't touch it. All of it goes directly to St. Jude. But you're in the running for this awesome tumbler from St. Jude. It's St. Jude branded. Ooh. That's what the inside looks like with its little card that it comes with. And it says, "No child should die in the dawn of life." And that's Danny Thomas, the founder of St. Jude. So that's what it looks like. So if you would like to win this, I'm going to do the drawing on May the 30th. We'll do it the day before the end of the month. So May 30th, I'm going to draw the names for this. At the moment, we only have 2 people in the running. So if you guys want to donate, whether it's $1 or $100, I would love it if you did $100, but I understand if you can't. Don't feel pressured, but I wanted to put this out here because I haven't been talking about it the way that I should be talking about it. So this tumbler is up for grabs May the 30th. I will be drawing the name for that. So you make the donations on the St. Jude page. All of your information is over there, so I won't have to contact you again. Do not put giveaway or anything in the description or in the comments or anything like that. But all that money goes directly to the kids at St. Jude. Okay, I think that's it. I'm going to get to stitching for the week. I'm going to see how far I can get. I will have an update, hopefully daily, on my Instagram. And then on Friday, we will start the next project, whatever I feel like working on. I'm kind of leaning towards the linens and thread style because they had the new drop on the 1st. You guys. Also, that floss that I purchased. Yeah, that Threadworks floss that I absolutely love, that bikini blue. I really want to use it. So I think that's probably going to be next week's, but we'll see when we get to Thursday what I'm feeling like starting. So thank you guys again for joining us. Please hit that thumbs up button. Tell me how I did. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. Ring that cowbell because everybody needs more cowbell in their lives. And until I see you guys next time, don't forget to craft like someone left the barn door open. Bye guys.